Hey guys, it's Ashley, and today we are going to be doing the Shadowhunter series book tag, but with Rick Riordan's books. Not gonna lie, this was not my idea. I asked you guys on Instagram for videos that you would like to see, and somebody literally said, do the Shadowhunter series book tag, but with Rick Riordan books. And I was like, well, you asked for it, so I'm pulling through here. As far as I know, I think this tag was created by Emma over at Emma Books. I'll leave the video that I'm using for reference down below. For the most part, I'm going to be using the questions from the TMI versus TID versus TDA tag. She basically just asks questions that pertain to, you know, which character is the best for this, which series is the best for this, and then we tally them all up at the end and we see what works. I don't really know how that's going to work here because I kind of decided just to bring all of his series over rather than just the 3 that I probably should have. So I'm just gonna have all the books on my lap here. We're gonna go through the questions and I'm going to give you my best, not at all thought out answer because I literally have not thought any of these out. I'm just gonna answer them on a whim because I just decided to do this video on a whim. You know how it is. So without further ado, let's get into the PJO, the HOO, the TOA, the TKC, and the MC G of A book tag. How did I do? Was that good? So the first question is, who is the better main character out of all of these series? And this question is already gonna get me into a pickle because the Heroes of Olympus technically has seven main characters. So we're just gonna ignore that one for now. In addition, the Kane Chronicles technically has 2 main characters whose point of views we follow. But we'll keep this one because it's easier to maintain 2 main characters than it is to try to figure out who's the best out of 6. Also, I should put out there before I really get into the answer here, I haven't read Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard in a couple years, so anything that I have to say revolving around this series is subject to being correct at all. I don't remember half of what happened in this book. Putting that out there before I say something totally wrong and you guys all need to correct me on it, it will probably happen. Best main character, I mean, my gut just wants to go with Percy because Percy started it all and Percy's voice is just like so clear and nostalgic to me. Like I open this book and I'm immediately thrown back to when I was like 12 and reading this for the first time. Percy's funny. Percy goes through some stuff, but he pulls through in the end. He really ends up becoming confident in himself and, you know, all of the things that make a main character like so great. But at the same time, I really feel like Apollo in the Trials of Apollo goes through a really great character arc as well. He goes from the first book being, you know, this haughty god who thinks he's better than everyone else and can do whatever he wants to, you know, going through a really great character development through the series and coming out a completely different person in God for it. I'm gonna have to give it to Percy only because he's like, you know, the classic choice here and he's great and nothing that anybody says or does will ever make me think otherwise. But I have to give like an honorable mention to Apollo because Apollo goes through some stuff. But also I have to give it to Sadie Kane because Sadie Kane is just my favorite. The next question in the Shadowhunters book tag actually pertains to Shadowhunters and does not pertain to the Rick Riordan world. So I'm gonna change it a little bit. So the question was, who is the best Herondale? But I'm going to change it and say, what is the best mythology to read about? Because technically we have Greek mythology with Percy Jackson. We're introduced to Roman mythology with the Heroes of Olympus. We have Norse, ignore that. We have Norse mythology in Magnus Chase, and we have Egyptian mythology in the Kane Chronicles. So what's the best? Just another little quick fair warning, 9 out of 10 times my answer will probably lean toward the Percy Jackson series or anything like that because I love that with all of my heart. But I'm gonna do my best to be completely like, not unbiased, because there's literally no way that I can be unbiased with this question. I'm picking my favorite out of everything, but I'm gonna do my best to give everybody an equal chance, if that makes sense. I'm gonna deliberate, and I'm going to come up with the best answer. Not that that best answer will be the best for anybody but me, but I'm gonna do my best. For some reason, I just can't bring myself to give it to Magnus Chase and Norse mythology. I love this series, and I love Norse mythology and learning more about it, especially in the way that Rick Riordan writes it, but it just never really like snagged my heart, so I'm gonna have to put that one back. Honestly, why am I even debating this? The best mythology is Greek mythology. I don't even have to explain. I mean, I'm gonna explain, but I shouldn't have to. Greek mythology has just been twisted and done so many times in so many different ways, and the Percy world is just so classic with Greek mythology retellings for me that I have to pick Greek mythology. It also doesn't help that Greek mythology comes up in 3 of Rick Riordan's series, so it's like I feel like I have to give it to Greek mythology. There's so much that has been done in this world with Greek mythology that it's just the best out of the 4. But I also would like to give an honorable mention to the Kane Chronicles because I knew nothing about Egyptian mythology. Came out of this series being able to answer an entire category of Egyptian mythology questions on Jeopardy correct. So if that doesn't deserve an honorable mention, I don't know what does. So the third question in the Shadowhunters book tag is who is the best love triangle? But because we don't have any love triangles in the Rick Riordan universe, I'm going to change it a little bit and say who is the best couple or like OTP in this series. As much as I want to give it to certain people, I think that there is one couple that stands above the rest when it comes to Rick Riordan's universe. And I think that that couple should be really obvious, and also this couple is going to be a spoiler. So I should probably put a spoiler warning. Before I make you guys wait any longer, I am going to give this trophy of the best couple in the Rick Riordan universe to the one, the only, Solangelo. If there's any other couple that you guys can pick other than Will and Nico, do not come after, don't even tell me. There is nothing else that could stand above Will and Nico. Nothing. You can't argue with me. There is nothing. That's all I gotta say. We're gonna move on now. So the next question we have is who is the best villain? So let's see if I can remember who the villains even are in this story. In Percy Jackson, we have Kronos, right? In the Heroes of Olympus, we have Gaia, right? In the Kane Chronicles, I just read this series last year. Why don't I know this? It doesn't matter. I'm not picking the Kane Chronicles, so we don't have to know that. In Magnus Chase, it's... I told you, I would not remember anything when it comes to this series. I'm not picking this one anyway. I already know what my answer is, so we're gonna just pretend like I know what the villain is of that series. The villain that I am going with is Emperor Nero from the Trials of Apollo. I have never been more horrified by a villain in a Rick Riordan book. He is awful, he is ruthless, he's creepy, he's done horrible things, and I will never forgive him for it. Granted, I have to give it to all of these villains for all doing their absolute best to try and destroy the world. But Emperor Nero, you're just the worst. I'm sorry. In this case, though, the worst is the best, so this can go 2 ways here. So the next question in this tag also kind of pertains more so to Shadowhunter lore than it does to the Rick Riordan universe. So I'm gonna do my best to switch it in a way that will work for these books. So the question originally was, which is the better like army or the better threat to the story? But I'm actually going to switch it to something completely different, I just realized. And my question is going to be, what is the better like camp? Because we obviously have Camp Half-Blood and Camp Jupiter, but we also have, isn't it Hotel Valhalla? Isn't that what it's called? If it's not called that, you know what I'm talking about in this story. But we have that. We also have the Brooklyn Mansion where the Kane Chronicles, you know, they train other kids who show up. And that's it, right? I think that's it. So we've got 4 different ones to choose from. And it would be really, really, really easy for me to say Camp Half-Blood because obviously. But I'm going to do something a little different here because like I said in the beginning, I'm going to give equal measure to all of these books. And I'm actually going to surprisingly choose the Magnus Chase version of the camp, Hotel Valhalla, if that's even the name of it. I could be totally wrong. I will correct myself if I am. The main reason that I'm choosing this series over any of the other ones, even though, again, Camp Half-Blood has my heart, is because it's kind of unique compared to all of the other ones. I'm gonna be talking about what it is and why I like it so much, so if you don't want to know anything about this book before going in, go ahead and like mute here. But if you don't mind, this isn't like a spoiler by any means. I'm just going to be going into like what it is exactly. So from what I remember, again, don't quote me on all of this, Hotel Valhalla is specifically for, you know, people and heroes who have died and then who are being trained in the afterlife to do things and prepare for Ragnarok, right? So the reason that I'm picking it is because it's unique in the way that all of these people that we meet there come from different time periods, different backgrounds. So in this story, we have a character named TJ who was a Civil War soldier. We have a girl, I think her name was Mallory, and she died somewhere in the past. I think it was like maybe the 90s or the 80s or something. Halfborn Gunderson, who was a Viking, right? So we have all of these different people who come from different backgrounds, different time periods, and it's so fun and interesting to get to see them interact with one another. It's great, I love it, and I love the idea of them all having already died but still fighting for something. That's why I have to give it to Magnus Chase in this question. Wow, this is making me want to reread this book now. So the next question, I don't remember what number we're on now, but is which is the better first book? We have, oh my god, I'm gonna have to list all of these off. The Sword of Summer, we have The Hidden Oracle, The Red Pyramid, I'm forgetting the names of these, The Lost Hero, and we have The Lightning Thief. Part of me really wants to go with the easy answer and give it to The Lightning Thief because, again, obviously, I don't think that any of us who are Rick Riordan fans have ever not opened this book, read, look, I didn't want to be a half-blood, and like not been so extremely and utterly happy and giddy to be back in this world already. So I feel like The Lightning Thief is the obvious and the easiest answer because it's just simple, it's the best. But I also really have to give it to The Lost Hero, to be honest with you. I really do, because I think that it was really great of Rick Riordan to start this second Percy Jackson World series with completely new characters. I feel like this book could have very easily lost a lot of people, and it honestly probably did. People who were really looking forward to reading more Percy Jackson, more, you know, Percy himself in this world, and having to wait till the second book to do that. But the way that this story introduced these 3 new characters, and then by the end of it brought in Camp Half-Blood into this much bigger, you know, more wide adventure story was just so good. The way that it just like crossed over these 2 characters who were technically main characters in their own stories, right? Like Jason in this book, you could consider the main character of the story that would have been at Camp Jupiter had there been a story at Camp Jupiter, you know? So the way that it took both of those characters and, you know, these groups of characters and combines them and mashed them all up in the 3rd book to go on this epic adventure was just so awesome. And I think that's the one reason why this series is my favorite. But yeah, I have to give it to The Lightning Thief for starting it all again, like I said, but I think that my main answer for this would honestly be The Lost Hero, which might be an unpopular opinion, I'm sorry, but I told you I'm gonna do my best here. So the next question in the Shadowhunters book tag is who is your favorite female supporting character? But this question, it just like kind of bugs me a little bit. I kind of just want to change this question and make it who's your favorite female character? Like in the Rick Riordan universe, right? Now I realize by asking that question, it's literally impossible to answer because I love them all so much. Like, I don't think that there is enough that can be said about Annabeth. Annabeth is amazing and is my girl and I love her to death. I also love all of the new female characters we get introduced to in the Heroes of Olympus, Piper and Hazel and Annabeth again. And then also my girl Sadie Kane, she's amazing and so badass. We also have Samira, who is amazing and wants really big things for her life and is this warrior queen. And I also want to throw in Alex Fierro into this mix. They identify as female in some of this book, so Alex is amazing and is one of my faves of all time. I absolutely love them. And then we have Meg, who is just this young girl who has gone through so much more than she should have in her life, and she just goes through an amazing character arc and learns so many new things about herself and believes in herself, and it's just such a wonderful story to get to read. So, with that being said, I'm going to use my indecision card here and say absolutely every single one of them are my favorites. Nobody can pull me away from a specific one, and they are all queens in my heart. They're all amazing and I love them so much. So question number 8 is technically which is the better setting, but I kind of also already answered that in my which is the better camp question when I did that. So I'm just gonna skip this one because I messed up, you guys. I didn't check all the questions ahead of time. I'm sorry. So question number 9 is going to be which is the better last book? Why are these questions so difficult? They're causing me actual pain in my head. Oh my god. The best last book for me is going to be The Blood of Olympus, which is book 5 in the Heroes of Olympus. So my reasoning behind this is because this is not only Rick Riordan's longest series, right? There are 5 books, which is the same amount as in the Percy Jackson and the Trials of Apollo, but these are definitely much longer books. So this is technically the longest series. We had such a build up to that final, you know, climactic fight scene in The Blood of Olympus. And also, that scene, that part, oh my god. But my main reason behind this being my favorite last book in the series is that one scene at the end where all of the children are fighting with their godly parents. Oh my god! I loved it so much. I loved everything about it. It was everything that I wanted in the final climactic fight scene that just brought everything together. All of these, you know, heroes from Camp Jupiter and Camp Half-Blood. Everything about it was amazing and I loved it so much. Also, being able to see Octavian just like eat crap. I'm just so good. I'm here for this. I hate Octavian and I am here for this. I love it so much. Okay, so that was technically the last question in the tag, but I want to do 2 more that I just thought of off the top of my head, and I'm gonna add it to this. So if any of you guys make this video about Rick Riordan's world, you can add these in if you want. But the questions that I'm doing, the first one is, which is the better cover? Because all of these covers look amazing when they're next to each other and they are so colorful and bright and they bring so many feelings of nostalgia when I look at them, but there has to be the #1 cover. And before I give an answer to this, I am going to say that I am focusing on the original covers, not any recovers or anything like that. So although I have this version of the Kane Chronicles in my possession, I'm going to be talking about the covers that match, you know, the other books in his series, which I'll put a picture of here. So with that being said, the books that I honestly have to give the best cover award to is probably gonna be the Magnus Chase books, to be honest with you. These books are so colorful, they are so bright, and their covers are so beautiful that I cannot give this to any other book. I love them so much, from the spines that you can clearly see when you look at the books on the shelves to the covers that are just so bright and beautiful. I am obsessed, I'm here for this, and yeah, I just gotta give it up to Magnus Chase. Just so pretty. So great. I love it. So the final question that I want to give is, which book had the best/worst cliffhanger? So I have a specific book in mind for this, which is why I thought of this question, and you guys probably can already guess it if you have read these books before. When I say best/worst, I mean the cliffhanger that you read that just left you shell-shocked, left you on the edge of your seat, left you cursing Rick Riordan's name into the winds because you had to wait a full year for the next book to come out to find out what was going to happen to your beloved characters. And for this, I have to go with none other than The Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan, book 3 in the Heroes of Olympus. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, I'm not gonna tell you, because I'm not gonna spoil it for you, because I want you to have the same guttural, visceral reaction that we all did at the end of that book. And so you guys, that is the end of the Shadowhunters book tag that I turned into the Rick Riordan Universe book tag. If any of you decide to use these questions for Rick Riordan's books, I would love to see your videos, so you can, you know, send them to me on Instagram, or, you know, leave a comment letting me know that you did the video. I would love to watch them and see what you guys thought. And again, remember that all of these opinions are just my own. Obviously, you can have your own favorite everything in each of these questions, and you know, my opinion should not affect yours, nor should yours affect mine. We can all have our own opinions here. I know that some people get really upset when people don't share their opinions about books, and y'all, it's a happy place here. We all love these series. Let's just all love what we love and not be upset by it, okay? Some people can get really upset, so I just needed to put that out there. I have no idea which series won in this video. I'm gonna say that it was the Heroes of Olympus, but while I'm editing, I will put the score here so that everybody can see exactly how each of these books scored. For answers that I provided multiple books for, I will give each of them 1 point so that we can tally them all up equally and every series at least gets something. All of these series are great. They're wonderful. And I might have my favorites, but that doesn't mean that any of the other ones are any less amazing. They're all so cool and so great, and there's a reason why people who read these books love them so much. So guys, I think that is going to be it for this video. If you want to follow me on any of my socials, all my handles are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later. Bye!